Hey guys, it's me, Mario. Today we're going to continue Sting, the Scorpion Man. How you guys doing today? Hope you're doing well. Chapter 2, Dark Surprise. Seth suddenly let out a groan of agony that echoed through the trees. Tom knew what he had to do. He couldn't ignore another person in pain, even if that person was his enemy. To do such a thing would make him as bad as Malville. Tom tugged Storm's bridle, leading the black stallion towards the figure. Elena walked next to him, with Silver pressed close to her side. Seth the path broadened and the trees thinned out to reveal a black mirror-like lake. Seth lay close to the water's edge. He was still breathing, but only just. His rib cage rose and fell in shallow gasps. 6 arrows were embedded in his chest, and his blood had seeped into the ground. It seemed impossible that he was still alive. Tom was now close enough to see the beads of sweat on Seth's forehead. Storm dug his hooves into the path, then stepped backwards. His nostrils flared. "Hush, Storm," Tom said, soothing the horse. "Silver doesn't like this either, Tom." Elena gazed down at her wolf. Silver's growls were deepening, and the hair on his back was standing up. "Seth can't do anything to us," Tom reasoned. "Look at him. He needs our help." Here's Seth on the lake's edge with the 6 arrows. He gave Storm's bridle to Elena. Then he took hold of Epos the flame bird's talon and pulled it from the front of his shield, before kneeling down next to Seth. As gently as he could, he pulled 3 arrows out of the boy's body and held the phoenix's talon to each wound. Seth's skin instantly began to knit together, and one by one the wounds started to heal. Seth's groaning eased. His eyes fluttered open. Seeing Tom, he cried out in panic, "No! Leave me alone!" Ignoring Seth, Tom pulled the 4th arrow from the boy's chest and healed the gaping hole. Seth's eyes filled with terror. He began pushing Tom away. As his strength started to return, "You don't know what you are doing," he gasped. "You should have left me to die." Tom ignored him. He took hold of the 5th arrow and pulled. With surprising speed, Seth grabbed Tom's wrist and pushed the arrow back into himself with a scream of pain. Tom heard Elena gasp with horror. Storm whined and tried to pull away from Elena's grasp, while Silver stood still, his tail between his legs. Tom could understand why his friends were so spooked. It was as if Seth wanted to die. He steadied his hands and swiftly prized Seth's hands away from the arrow, drawing the dripping shaft out of the boy's flesh. "No," Seth moaned, as Tom took hold of the sixth and final arrow. "Don't do it!" "Something is wrong here, Tom," Elena said, shaking her head. "I think we should respect Seth's wishes and leave him here." "He's mad with pain," Tom reassured his friend. "There's just one more arrow." Tom pulled the sixth arrow loose. Seth lashed out with his fist as Tom held the phoenix talon to the fifth and sixth wound. But he was too weak to knock Tom's hands away. In an instant, the wounds had healed. Seth let out an unearthly screech and writhed on the ground, making Tom jump back in alarm. Elena desperately attempted to soothe Storm and Silver as they tried to turn tail and run. Something was happening to Seth, something awful. Tom watched in horror as the boy's legs fused together, forming a single limb that lengthened and tore through his clothes. It grew darker and harder until it turned into a bulbous, bedded tail. The tail whipped out powerfully at Tom and Elena, knocking them both to the ground. Seth screamed again. His voice sounded deeper and rougher. 3 legs forced their way out of both sides of his torso, tearing through his tunic. "Get back!" Tom shouted to Elena as they both scrambled to their feet. Seth sprung onto his new legs and let out a horrifying roar as his arms stiffened and distorted into 2 pincers. They began clicking and snapping at Tom and Elena's direction. Tom could hardly believe what was in front of him. The bottom part of Seth's body looked just like a scorpion, but his chest and head were still human. Seth pointed at Tom and Elena, his face a mask of anger and despair. "You," he screamed, his voice terrifyingly deep. "This is your fault. This is Marvel's punishment for my failure. If you just let me die as I wished, this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be a monster." With a roar of fury, Seth picked up his sword, which had been lying by the side of the path. Its wickedly serrated edge glinted in the blood-red light. With his giant scorpion pincers snapping, he advanced on Tom and Elena. That is the final picture of this chapter. Man. That transformation reminds me of Anti-Pentagram's transformation into an alicorn. Anti-Pentagram wasn't originally an alicorn. She was a Pegasus. No, a unicorn. She was originally a unicorn. But then turned into an alicorn by Voodoo Buttons. Some anti-pentagram lore thrown out there. But yeah, hope you like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you guys are interested in more Beast Quest videos. Yeah. Bye guys.